15 after the terrorist attack, because the place is really secure. You have lots of security guards, but the beach being open to the public, they could not secure the cemetery if the gate remained open. So that's the reason why now the gate is locked. So I always
Are they going to play taps here? Is this where they do that?
Not right here, right there. But at 5.
Should we go up those stairs?
After, yes. So here is the Garden of the Missings. That's right now I always stop here, and what you're looking at here is the Wall of the Missings. On the Wall of the Missings you have the name of over 1,500 soldiers who were not found after the Battle of Normandy. They were never found. 1,500 of them, 1,511 I think precisely. It's all alphabetically sorted. You've got here the army, starting from there you've got the navy. On the wall you'll find the name of the hero, the rank he has in the army, the division he was fighting with, and the state you read is not necessarily the home state. It's more like the state where they enlisted the army.
Enlistment, okay.
Yeah. Now if you look carefully, any part of the wall, you will be amazed by the number of soldiers who were member of the 66th Division. Take a look.
Yeah, see that, yeah.
For yourself. It's amazing. You have over 500 of them. And there's a reason for that. They were on board a ship, which was not a battleship, it was a cruise ship actually, from Belgium called Leopoldville. And that cruise ship was used to transport troops from the UK to the continent. And on Christmas Eve 1944, while they were approaching the harbor of Cherbourg, so Cherbourg is there, they got hit by a German torpedo and the ship sunk with everybody on board. And it was Christmas Eve, so December 24th, so the temperature of the channel at that time of the year must be around 45 degrees max, 100 in fact. So even if you can swim, you die. You die.
Give me the date of that ship sinking.
24th of December. In fact, it sunk between the 24th and 25th.
Of what year?
1944.
Okay.
So that was post.
Post, yes. The harbor of Cherbourg was under control, but you still had German submarines hanging around.
Subs, yes.
And there was a big controversy because the US Navy was stationed in Cherbourg, didn't send any rescue boats because they were afraid there would be more German
sinking
submarines. Yes.
More boats.
Yes, more boats.
Ships.
If you look around, you will see sometimes, in fact 21 times precisely, a little rose like that.
Yeah,
That means this hero is no longer missing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Because when they built the cemetery in 57, they put the names of all the missing soldiers. But since 1957, we have found and identified, because we need to do both, 21 of them.
Wow.
Found the remains.
The remains, different stories, but
okay.
I tell you, in fact, the story of the last one. The last man who was granted a rose like that.
Should be from Florida.
You saw how the leader bent the plane to salute the graveyard?
So was that an F-35 or do you know?
No, those are French, those are Mirage.
Okay, pretty cool looking plane.
It's like what you call, you have the same in US, you know, for shows. What is the word? Go Patrouille de France in US. Sorry?
A Phantom?
No, we know they just do a demonstration.
Air show?
Air shows.
Blue Angels?
Blue Angels. It's like Blue Angels.
Well, they're beautiful planes. Is that a current model that the French use in warfare? Or do you know? Or that's a show plane there.
Those are Mirage, so we don't really use them anymore in warfare.
Okay.
This is gorgeous.
This is a nice honor here.
Yes.
I guarantee the families appreciate it.
Yeah, gorgeous roses. You can get
Julius Pieper. Radioman, U.S. Navy Reserve. Julius Pieper arrived in Normandy on June 19th, 1944, and he was on the same landing ship than his twin brother Ludwig Pieper. Or as you may know, they should not have been on the same ship.
Correct.
Because of the Sullivan brothers in the Pacific. They were. We know why now they were, because in fact when they joined the army, they asked their father to write a letter to the Navy so the twins would not be separated.
Oh, wow.
So the ship sunk. They found the remains of Ludwig Pieper, who was buried in 1957 in the graveyard right here. And Julius was missing, so they put the name on the wall of the missings. 1957. 1961. Divers found the shipwreck on the coast right there. And within the shipwreck they found human remains, but they were not able to identify those remains, no more dog tag, and back then no DNA test, nothing like that. So those remains were buried as an unknown soldier in Belgium, because again, after 1957, this place was closed here. You could not be buried here unless you had a brother.
Oh, wow.
So he was buried in Belgium on 61. Years after, in 2015, a teenage girl from Nebraska, because they were from Nebraska, and she wants to do some, she has to do some home, work on World War II, and she decided to work on those two heroes from Nebraska who left Omaha to die on Omaha. So with the help of her teacher, she searched the internet, and while searching the internet, she found a PDF file, which was the copy of the local newspaper in 61 relating about the discovery of the shipwreck and the remains. And both got convinced it was the remains of Julius Pieper. Not only they were convinced, but they were very good in convincing, because they actually convinced the US government to dig up the body in Belgium and run DNA test.
Golly, is that right now?
And they were right.
Wow.
It was Julius Pieper. And Julius Pieper was finally
United?
united with his brother in 2018.
Wow.
So 3 years ago, 4
So
years
they
ago.
were able to take enough of his skeleton
Yes,
remains?
and match this with a nephew or a niece. And in fact, to tell you the truth, it was not just a guess. On the newspaper article, the divers described where within the ship they found the remains. And based on
That was a clue. That was a clue.
based on what they knew about the position of each member of the crew, that was the position of a radio man. That's why they guessed. By the location of those remains within the shipwreck. It was just, illumination. It was something logical in a way. But they had to prove it.
Yeah.
But they did prove it. So when I told you there are 9,388 graves here, it's including Julius Pieper. Because I'm telling you, if you take the brochure they still have in the visitor center, you still read 9,387. I'm right.
You need a new publication.
This is your tax money, so they still use the old stock. And don't complain about it, it's your money.
I'll call Biden. I'll call Biden.
The true number is 9,388. And you can remember the name of Julius Pieper, because Julius Pieper is most likely the last man forever to be buried here. Because in order to be buried here, you would have to have a brother or a relative here.
That was a disqualifier if you didn't have a brother.
All other 20 stars, like John C. Mility, who is now in Arlington, all of them are not buried here. They are buried in military cemeteries in the US, or maybe sometimes family cemeteries. None of them were buried here, except for Julius Pieper, because his brother was here.
Interesting. Beautiful.
Dang, look
Oh, wow.
real.
Landings.
You get blistered.
Hot.
Your faces, you get blistered. You need to put on a big brim hat.
No, I don't wear a hat in the cemetery. I was raised like that. No, it's okay. It's my parents, because my parents.
Well, I don't see nobody wearing it. Well, I see one guy.
So they had this ceremony this morning, and you have this statue here, which is part of the original design in '57. The artist who made that was Donald Deleue, and it represents the title of the statue is the spirit of the American youth rising from the waves. So it's a symbol of a generation that came from the sea because we are right above the water to liberate Europe.
I missed that last point. What did you say?
The symbol of a generation that came from
The ocean.
to liberate Europe.
Okay, I missed that. Liberate. I didn't hear that.
You have maps. This one over there is a very classical map. It shows the liberation of Europe. Nothing fancy about it. But those ones are more interesting, in fact. Those two maps.
Is this Normandy here?
Yes, Normandy, except it's upside down.
Okay.
Because they decided to have the north and at the bottom and the south on the top, which is, so again, it's a convention, but it's unusual for us. The idea was to show Normandy viewed from England, Normandy viewed from the liberators. But the most interesting map is this one, because it really helps to understand the strategy of the Allies, which is so bright. You see this map over there? It's Normandy again, upside down, okay? You see all the red dots?
I do.
Each red dot is a major airstrike. And if you look carefully to the map, you will see that all airstrikes were following rivers. On the bottom, on the left is the Seine River. On the top is the Loire River. And then you understand the strategy of the Allies. By bombing all bridges and rivers, they were isolating the battlefield. That way, it will slow down the German counter-attack.
Reinforcements.
The reinforcement, and they would have more time to put a stronghold on the mainland. They were buying time this way.
That's right.
So by the time the Germans were able to replace those bridges and so forth, to go with tanks, you know what? You were already installed. And that was one of the key elements to shoot Normandy for the land. Because thanks to the Seine, especially the Seine River on the bottom on the left, because most of the reinforcement would come from Belgium and Pas-de-Calais, so from there. So that way, we stopped the German reinforcement. So this map is very interesting.
Calais is actually north.
Yes. So Calais is
upside
down. Yeah. So it's in the bottom. So you see, that way, all the planes in Calais had a hard time to go to London because no bridges was left intact.
Hitler wouldn't release those
for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Thought it was coming in Calais.
And yes, because for 2 weeks he believed what happened in Normandy was a diversion.
Even after it happened?
Yes. Because of the deception plan. Because, you know, the Allies had put a fake army in Dover, made of British civilians with pattern, with flattable tanks, cardwood planes, all fake objects that would be photographed from the sky by the German planes. And in fact, it's funny because the RAF had the instruction to failing the fight, so the Germans could take pictures of it.
Oh, really? So they didn't shoot them down?
So they had to play like they were not good, you know, to make sure. Otherwise, the Germans could not take picture of it.
Incompetent.
They also dropped foil out of airplanes.
Oh, that's for the night
That's the radar.
Where they were supposed to invade Calais, slow-moving, the Germans.
They really threw
All those aluminum foil were fooling the Germans' radar, so they thought there would be thousands of planes coming to Calais. But they also had some like that in Normandy.
Did they?
Yeah. Because the Germans, again, on D-Day, one fear, interesting fear. On D-Day, you had about 12,000 Allied planes, British and American, fighting 700 German planes. 12,000 versus 700. So Germans...
More than 12 to 1.
It was terrible for them. They had one advantage from the air fights. They had extremely good radars. And it was a nightmare for both American and British aircraft. That's the reason why when the troops arrived in Normandy, the radars were the first target for special forces to destroy them. So they could go back on airstriking without the German being noticed before.
Wow.
What time is it? Oh, we need to go there. And they start at 5 sharp. No, 1 more minute.
And what was the missing in action total?
1511.
Okay. And 98 and some change here, 9,800.
No, 9,388.
They do so.
De kleuren zo. En de Nederlanders hebben dezelfde vlag, maar zo. Als je hem uiteindelijk uitdraagt, dan kun je dat een stuk maken en dan kun je de vlag nog gebruiken. Dan kun je deze zien, de zuinigheid van de Nederlanders. Misschien wel eens waar. Toen de revolutie werd natuurlijk, dan hebben ze gevraagd of de familie van de koning van Frankrijk hier terug te komen. En de man die zou gezegd hebben, dat doe ik alleen als die hier op de vlag komt. Nee, zei ze, dat doe ik niet. Dus dan bedankt ik voor de en sindsdien is gewoon het keizerrijk gebleven. Doesn't like it. Dat was die.
Ja.
There's trouble with that. It's a big flag.
Papa. Mama.
11 He just wanted to make his house.
That should be it.
9,388 graves. They are all made of white marble. This marble is from Lassa, Italy, and it was chosen originally because it's the whitest and the purest marble you could get. So it was important because it's a symbol of purity for those young ones who died in Normandy. You have mostly Latin crosses, but you have 151. You have one there. 151 Stars of David.
Where's the Latin at?
Latin cross, most of them, except 151 Stars of David for Jewish soldiers. 151, yes. On the grave you have the name of the hero, again, the rank in the army, the division, the state where enlisted, and you have the date of death.
It's cool.
You don't have the date of birth. It's the only nation in Normandy that doesn't tell us the age of the heroes. If you were going to a British cemetery, you would read died at the age of whatever. German cemetery, French cemetery, Dutch cemetery, you have the date of birth. The decision was made after the war by the American government that they were whole heroes. That's what they said. And therefore it was not necessary to give indication of the age. Now I can tell you in average, here they are 24 years old, in average.
Wow.
The youngest one was 17. And the oldest one I mentioned here, I guess, Leslie McNeil, General McNeil, was 76. died with his men outside of Saint-Lô by a friendly fire. A stupid mistake by the Air Force, killing 200 men, including their leader, Leslie McNeil. On the back of the crosses, of the graves, you have a number. You can read it here. It's always different because it's the number they had on the dog tag. Few occasions you won't read any numbers. You won't read any numbers on some of those. Let me check. Here.
We can take your word.
No, but you will see them. You won't find the dog tag number for unknown soldier, obviously. And there are 305 graves for unknown soldiers, and very few occasions civilians. There are very few civilians. Some doctors sometimes, nurses with the Red Cross, like people like that. Very few civilians, very few of them. All right, what else? No logical order. It's totally random. More or less random, to be honest with you, because after the war, the government gave the possibility for the families to either send back their loved ones to the US to be buried there, or have them buried here. Basically, the order is by the answer of the families. As soon as they got answer of the families, they were burying them starting from there, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's more or less random. Let's put it this way: it's random. Okay. Now, if you want, we can either I let you hang around, or I give.
Probably not.
I know Rabbit Murphy.
Yeah, no, this guy was Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Decorated.
Because Rabbit Murphy was with the troopers in St. Péricles. He was with the 82nd Airborne troops. So.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just hang around your own way, and I wait for you here. We meet by like in 10 minutes, right before 5:30.
Where at?
By the flag, or by the pole, should I say?
Meet where?
By the pole, right here, for instance.
Okay.
So it's easy to find.
At what time?
That's a different. 2 inches. Yeah, send Kathy some of this stuff.
We have flags for D-Day, Memorial Day, and I think Independence Day. And if you see, they have a French flag and American flag, and you see where the French flag is compared to the American flag. The American flag is on a beach side, so the French flag is
On the land.
On the
Oh,
land.
cool.
So the symbol is they came from America
Yeah.
to liberate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It's always
said just
like that.
Americans were here.
Yeah. But where would be the Canadians?
They have their own cemetery.
Somewhere here?
Or not here. They have more on the east of Caen. In Bayeux, you have a huge Commonwealth cemetery. If you have time, I recommend. It's after you saw that, it's very interesting to see how different it is.
Oh,
the
with this
spirit.
celebration or this?
Yes, even the graves are different because there you don't have any crosses or any Star of the Day. It's just a basic tombstone. Also, you know the edge of the hero on the British cemetery, which says died at the edge of. But to me, the most emotional part of it is the fact the Commonwealth Commission gave the possibility for families to engrave personal notes on the tombstones.
The British?
Yes. So each stone had a personal
That's
note
pretty cool.
from the families. And some of them are basic, but I can share you one I have in mind because every time I watch it, I'm sorry, I laugh or I smile. It just says,
Sure.
you like so much chocolate.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Homemade biscuits.
And I guess all the guys know this place in Renville, the cemetery. You like so much chocolate. And then
I
the one
like beer.
was Toby will miss you so much. And we still don't know if Toby was the dog or the brother. So let's go this way before African Americans, by the way. Because during segregation,
Yeah.
African Americans could not be in fighting positions.
That's correct. That's correct.
So the reason why I want to stop here before we go back to Bayeux, it's because it will be your only chance to see the bluff from the top.
For the Germans.
From the Germans' point of view, absolutely.
They're like shooting ducks on the pond.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you wonder how come only 2,000 German soldiers were able to last like one day against 35,000 American soldiers, you get the answer. This is called higher ground position. But more important, remember I told you the story of the battle? I told you about Joe Dawson and his men. Joe Dawson and his men at 9:30 were able to go between W 62 and W 64. W 62 is right behind that bush over there. W 64 is right behind that bush.
That's where they came up at.
This is where they came through, yes.
And then they bushwhacked them.
Sorry?
Bushwhacked. That's what we used in the South.
I don't know this word.
Bushwhacked. They shoot them behind the bush.
So they climbed the bluff here, made it to the top here, and walked under fire to the 1162 and took control of the 1162. So I think it's important to see the place, and I also believe it's very symbolic that the graveyard is right above the place where the tide turned, basically on the battlefield. So I just wanted to share that with you before we go to the car, because we need to go to the car. We are late.
Okay.
We are way late.
That's a great story. That's great. I always tell that.
Are really reluctant to fight and to die for a cause which was not theirs, in fact.
For a
Beautifully
maniac.
manicured.
Exactly.
Crazy man. Well,
Then after, I'm talking about D-Day. After all the SS troops came, that was different.
sure.
But I'm talking about
Brainwash. Yeah.
I mean those. They were
Stormtroopers.
They were destroyed. They were
Sure.
destroyed.
Hopped up.